Trev, it brings us to the final game of the night. I started getting wishy-washy when I started talking about the talent in Seattle and Toronto because we ended up stumbling into the talent that's on this baseball field, and it is high-end, the starting pitching, the back end of the game, the Mets hosting the Padres. The Mets, regrettably, at this dance. They had a couple games that they could have won that could have not had them in the wild card. They didn't win them. Okay. We got Scherzer. We got DeGrom. We got Bassett. We got the home field. San Diego's got to fly out here. Scherzer gets touched by Bell in the first inning, a 2-run big boy homer. It was kind of one of those homers that you were like, no way he got it that good, right? He did. 419, the opposite field. It is 2-0. Make it 3 after Trent Grisham, independent. His 184 batting average goes yard on Scherzer. It stays 3-0. The Mets had chances. They had runners on. They were waiting for that 2-out hit. It never came home. And then the 5th inning, Profar with the back-breaking Taylor Walls chiropractor 3-run homer off the pole after the hit before that hit the chalk. And then Manny Machado follows it up with a homer of his own. Scherzer comes out, 4.27 earnies. Shout out to the Mets pen. They did their job, 4.1 shutty. Yu Darvish was Yu Darvish, man. It's fun to watch. We saw a 95-mile-per-hour fastball. We saw a 67-mile-per-hour eephus pitch. He kicks it to Suarez and Garcia. Garcia hitting a hunch easy. Suarez with the 7-pitch inning. The Mets, you wanted to root for him. We were rooting for him. We were live streaming. By the way, we're going to be live streaming tomorrow night. We're going to be live streaming every night. So come tune in. Check out the JM Baseball channel. We'll be streaming there. And by the way, we've got some awesome merch. I'm wearing a pretty cool new shirt that our graphics guy put together. So you can support us. Join us in a live stream. Check out our merch store. Get yourself something nice. Get a gift for someone. Eddie Escobar, my guy, hits the homer. We love that. We love getting a 0 off the board. Trev, again, I will kick off. Marte was a part of this game. Do you want to start with Scherzer? Was he banged up? Do we want to give the Padres love? You tell me.
You got to give the Padres love. I want to give a few shout-outs before I dive into this. Peter Moylan with the Instagram story of the week. He posted a pic of himself playing golf, and he said, #wildcard. And that is rubbing salt in the Mets fans' wound.
Yeah.
Because he's got no care in the world this weekend. He's going to go play golf. He doesn't have to watch these games. Who cares? That's tough. Mets could have been there. It didn't happen. And then I had a buddy who texted me before the game, and he said, hey, I think I'm taking a Josh Bell homer here at plus 750. What do you think? I said, I don't know, bro. Maybe. Sure as shit, man. Hits the homer. And that's the name of the game. It's these homers. Scherzer wasn't as sharp as he needed to be, made some mistakes with the fastball. But you do have to give credit to the Padres hitters for putting the bat on the ball. We talked about how the guys the Padres have slated to start, Darvish, Snell, Musgrove, they've been coming in hot. And then Scherzer, he was good. Then he gets hurt, comes back, looks good. Struggles, I think, in his last outing. I don't know, man. This was tough to watch. It was tough to watch because once you have that 5th inning, 3-0 is a big lead. But then you go up 7-0. And the life is out of the stadium. I know Escobar hits the homer or whatever. Was he wearing Bengal cleats? What was that?
You know Eddie, man.
They were orange with black stripes. Is that a Bengal or a tiger? I don't know what was going on with that. But it's all Padres, man. And this was without Soto doing anything. He wasn't the one. We called for all the guys that got traded to step up, and we were really saying, well, Soto, let's go. Like, you got hot at the end of the season. Can you do something? Turns out Didn't really need him. 0 for 4 for Soto, but Bell does a thing in the first inning. And scoring first, how important is that in these series, especially if you're the visiting team? Score first, shut the crowd up a little bit. Like, get that momentum. It really means something in these short series because it just puts so much pressure on the other team. And I know it's one game and you got to win two, but that is what you talk about pregame. Hey, let's go score first. Let's go do that. And then you got Darvish on the hill. And did he have some base runners on? Sure, but the things he's able to do with the baseball, just it's really, really hard to have a plan of attack against you, Darvish, because he can just manipulate the ball so well. I mean, some of the eephus curveballs up there, then he'll juice one up on you with the fastball, and he'll that fastball, there's a fucking 10-mile-an-hour difference in how he throws it, and that's with every single pitch. So really, he might have 5 pitches that he throws, but it's really more like 10 because he's able to manipulate them and mess with you. And we saw more of that tonight. And I think, yeah, tip your hat to him and the Padres in general.
And Trev, that's a great point. Well, first let me do. I love the punch back.
By the way, I said 5 pitches like that was nothing because that's you, Darvish. I think he might even have 6 pitches that he registers. So
yeah, on any given day, I think there is something like he's thrown 9 or 10 different types of pitches this year. The punch back inning, I mentioned it with Cleveland, and the Mets in the first inning. Lindor hit by pitch, swipe second, McNeil single, first and third, Alonso and Vogie gave it a little more of a ride than people thought. The ball was carrying to right field. How different is this game if 1 or 2 or 3 of those runs get pushed across? And piggybacking off of where you are, because we streamed this game, me, Joes, and Jolly, thanks to everyone that was with us, we were kind of saying in the 8th and 9th inning, like, it felt like Darvish was hittable today. But when you put it in the equation like you just did, a normal pitcher has 3 pitches. So say their fastball, slider, change. When you see that ball start to break in and it's their slider and they leave it over the middle of the dish, guess what? Tea time, right? For Darvish, like you're saying with that game plan, there was a couple pitches that looked kind of middle, center cut. Alonso took a cutter in the first inning, his second pitch that was kind of right there. A couple other at-bats in this game that he got pop-ups out of. With those array of pitches, it makes it harder to line it up even when he makes a mistake because you don't know what pitch is coming. So that's a credit to you, Darvish. And again, I've been trying to tell you people all year, he seemingly gets forgotten in the book of baseball a little bit, but like a historic career, like the fact he's still doing it at age 36 and is dominant and he's got this silly online presence, like he's a special guy. Profar, his big season all year for the Padres comes up on the big stage. Josh Bell, him and Trent Grisham, it felt like every time they were up, they hit a ball to the warning track or out of the park. I don't know. Do you think Scherzer's hurt? I know you covered that briefly, but Moylan and Blevins basically alluded to it.
He had the oblique thing, but he came back and was lights out for his first start back. And it could be a thing where it's lingering and he's not nursing it, but protecting it, I think is the word I'm looking for. And if you're doing that and you don't have the conviction, the pitchers will use that word a lot. Sometimes I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? But I get it. If it's like you have to finish off your pitches and you have to be really like, you just have to have conviction. That is the right word for it. You have to have that. And maybe Manx didn't have that tonight. Padres relying on the long ball is strange. They're bottom third in the league in that category. But I guess that's how it goes some games. I don't expect that to keep up for them in the postseason. You got it off Scherzer. Now you got DeGrom tomorrow. Can you do that? Is he going to be on a short leash? Like, is it all hands on deck? Is everyone with the Mets available? Is Bassett? Does he have the cleats on too tomorrow? Like, what are we doing if you're the Mets? I think you have to just have everybody. It's obviously a must-win game, but like, are we gonna do any piggyback situation, short leash, long leash? What are we doing, man?
I'm I would say no Bassett. I know you got to play to win the game, but I don't think Bassett because you didn't use Edwin Diaz. So in playoff formats, can Edwin give you two? I think absolutely. You didn't use Ottavino, who can be a high leverage guy. Seth Lugo came out, and that's the win from this game. Like the Mets bullpen did their job. David Peterson, a dominant little outing from there. So I think you tell everyone that's not Bassett that we got to get it tomorrow. And Trev, I mean, maybe this whole conversation's for naught because the guy who's supposed to be the best pitcher in the world, if you polled society, this man would be the number one guy mentioned as the best pitcher in the world right now. Jacob deGrom is on the bump. And hey, Padre fans, you probably don't want to hear this. I mean, I hope we get a legendary performance because it's how good this guy is. I mean, it's an unfair ask to ask anyone to give a legendary performance, especially, he's still working his way up to be like full Jacob deGrom. But at Citi Field, season on the line, Scherzer was clearly dealing with something that, man, oh man, it's the game I'm most excited for tomorrow because of Jacob deGrom.
Going back to the Scherzer possible injury, he spoke after the game. He kept saying my fastball was running on me instead of riding up. And that typically means something's going on mechanically, whether you're compensating this way, something's off. With a guy like Scherzer, who's, a workaholic and really focuses on his mechanics and making sure everything's lined up and going the right way, that's a shock to hear him say that. It makes me think, yeah, maybe he has been compensating for that oblique and things were just a little bit different because they did get to that heater. I think Profar's was like a little cutter, but Bell's was a fastball. I think Grisham's was a fastball. And he said, I use that heater to set everything else up. If you don't have
Right.
that working the way that you want it to work, then you can't set up everything else. And you're going to get bit by some of these long balls, and he did.
I'm excited for tomorrow. On the other side, San Diego, who Trev, you did pick to win this series, has Blake Snell going tomorrow. Who Blake Snell had an incredible second half. He's not afraid of the moment. Heck, I should stop saying incredible second half. He ended up with 24 starts and a 3.88 ERA. He had a much better second half than a first half. But Blake Snell, and I know he was also in your IG Live, flex on him.
Crushing it in my IG Live.
14 starts, a 2.19 ERA, 105 punchouts, and 78 innings pitched. He has only gotten better as this season has gone on. If you're the Mets, you better find some big boy stuff. I mean, Alonso's better versus lefties. You're probably going to see the kid Alvarez in at DH as they're looking for some Mets magic there. I talked about Seattle being set up good with Robbie Ray and Gilbert. The Padres with a win in the bag. And then Snell and Musgrove to win one game. The Padres are sitting pretty, Trev.
I told you these guys have no hit type stuff. It just takes right now for the Padres to move on is one good start from guys that have been giving you good starts a lot in the second half and that have had a career of good starts. So Snell seems chill as ever, ready to go on the bump. But by no means is this series over. I know all the stats for these 3-game series. Again, how the hell do we even know? Small sample size. Will you do it to me? I don't know, man. That game one does mean a lot, though, doesn't it?
It's what we're
Feels
gonna.
like it.
It's what we're gonna find out, and that's why I had my weird badump thing that you didn't understand, and people shouldn't
I don't know
understand.
what you. Yeah, what is that?
But guess what? For all these game twos, the first time that we're watching these 3-game wildcard formats, if the Rays punch back and they win, and then the pressure's on the Guardians for game 3 at home. If Toronto, they put on a show tomorrow, and then they're going to game 3, and they're building, they're going to be all sorts of juiced up. The Cardinals, like I said, they kind of thought they won a game, and then they didn't. They lost it at the end. If they come back and win, and they've got one more game to go to save their season, and the New York Metropolitans, are you kidding me? DeGrom, that play should be electric. He's got a chance to have a special performance. This game, I know Cleveland and Tampa, we talked about how the offenses could be shut down. Snell DeGrom through 7 innings? I mean, can I bet on zeros on the board through that? I think you can. First 5, they got those bets. I'm excited to see this Mets team and Buck Showalter, and we're not the Mets. The other thing that's tough, Trev, I watched this game with Jolly. They've had 4 games now that were kind of must win, and they've gone 0-4 in them. And when Peter Moylan's posting his IG stories from the golf course, it's in your head a little bit. And it's either, it's literally go now or go home. And I guess a guy that we haven't mentioned yet, who hopefully Mets fans can circle as an X factor for the rest of this series, Starlin Marte brought it tonight. With the finger taped up, defensively, offensively, stealing bags.
What's a reason to be on the roster?
I think him and Escobar got to go up the lineup tomorrow. It's do or die. And that stuff is what makes these short series so fun and so interesting, is what is Buck going to make this lineup look like tomorrow?
But, dude, hand it to your guys. Lindor, you got to do something. Pete, you got to do something. Those 2 guys, you got to be the offense. You have to be the spark plug, whatever it may be. Those are the guys that have to go.
Yeah.
That's bottom line, dude. You got to have them step up, okay? Like, it's awesome when we have the guys at the bottom in the order do some things for you. Great. That's extra, bro. Like, your guys need to be your guys. So if you're the Mets, it's one thing you got to look out for is, are our guys, Lindor and Pete, are you going to go up there and get to Snell early and set the tone? It's the bottom line. If Snell goes through that lineup the first time and it's like a hot knife through butter, that stadium is going to be low again. The energy is not going to be there. And then it just becomes like the Padres series to win. Like, you got to go from the get-go. I really, really believe, especially in these short series, it's you got to score early. You got to go out there and do it early, dude, because the pressure just starts to mount. We heard a lot of these broadcasts talking, and A-Rod, okay, I'll give him a little bit of credit here, okay? When I was watching that game, he talks about how a 7-game series is so much different than a 3-game series. Like, there is room for error in a 7-game series. If you bobble a ball or you make an error, it's okay. Like, there's baseball to be played. When you pare it down to a 3-game set, every single thing matters. Scoring first matters. Momentum matters, because not only for statistics, but like when you're playing defense and you got a lead, you're playing defense a little bit easier, a little more carefree. When you're playing defense and you're behind, or it's a close game, like you get a little, tense there. Like, it's a butterfly effect with everything. Go out there for the Mets, get on the board early. That's what you have to do. And then you got DeGrom going for you. Like I said, none of these series are over. I don't want to hear it with the percentages and whatnot, but I think that the momentum and scoring first is paramount for the teams that have lost game 1.
Final question before we call it. How many game 3s will there be on Sunday?
I don't know, man. Let me go over them real quick. It's got to be quick. I think. Sorry, I'm fired up right now.
I know.
I think the Rays sneak one out. I think the Rays Guardians go through.
Horny.
I do. Cardinals, Phillies goes 3.
That's going 3.
It's going 3. There's no doubt in my mind. I think the Mets win this next one because I believe in DeGrom. I love you, Snell. I love you, bro. And what's the other one?
Mariners, Blue Jays. Hesitant.
I think that might be a sweep.
Woo!
Mariners are doing it right now.
I think we get 3. I think I'd flip flop. I think Cleveland just gets it done. I think they're a better team. Okay. Tristan.
I'm on board with that. I'll change my answer to that.
Toronto. Let's go.
Hey, because who knows anything about what's going to happen? You don't. I don't. And nobody listening here knows what the hell is going to happen. That's the beauty of baseball, man.
And as everybody knows, with these playoffs and where me and Zach met was on set, that anything goes. It's late. Thank you, everyone. That joke was for Zach mostly.
Do you want to deep dive into some more stuff?
Yeah, Trevor. Me and Trevor will be live on his Instagram live for the rest of the night, just talking about different players and their performances. Thank you guys again. Streaming tomorrow, streaming every night, and we'll have the recaps out to you. Podcast, normal schmormal, as you saw on the YouTube. We're chopping them up per series. Thank you guys. John Bino says his best. We're trying to figure out how to work him in while he comes back from his sister's wedding. And then once he's back, he's in. So
about to work this beef jerky in my mouth right now. How about that?
All right. Hit music or something, Zach. Let's get out of here. Got late real fast.
I love baseball so much, dude.